Hey everyone, we are working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Yo, you see that right there? You see how DJ Turner just locked that receiver up like he wasn't even worth the trouble? Like he was running through an opponent's secondary instead of one of the best corners in the AFC? That right there, that is worth $20 million a year, maybe more. And the Cincinnati Bengals better figure that out real fast, because the rest of the NFL has already noticed. What is good, everybody? I'm Dre. This is Dre Talk Sports. And today we are cracking open what might be the single most consequential offseason decision the Bengals organization has faced since they sat down with Joe Burrow to work out his mega deal. Because right now, right at this exact moment heading into training camp, the Bengals are staring down a stack of contract extensions that would make any general manager's head spin. DJ Turner, Dax Hill, Miles Murphy, Chase Brown, Jordan Battle. And on top of all of that, they've got Amarius Mims ascending at offensive tackle so fast that they might need to call his agent before this episode is even over. This is not a drill. This is a franchise-defining financial moment. And Dre is going to break all of it down for you today. No filter, no fluff, just the real talk that Bengals Nation needs to hear. Let's get into it. Let me start with the most obvious name on this list, because if the Bengals are making a priority list this offseason, and they're not putting DJ Turner at the absolute top of it, I genuinely do not understand what they're doing. This man changed his jersey number. You know what that means in the NFL, right? That is not a fashion decision. That is a message. That is a player telling his organization, his teammates, and the entire league, I am ready to be the guy. I am ready to wear a number that reflects my status on this team. And when DJ Turner makes that kind of statement, the Bengals better be ready to back it up with a contract that matches the energy. Here's where this gets complicated, though, because DJ Turner is not going to come cheap. We're talking about a player who was used as the Bengals' #1 shadow corner last year, the guy they trusted to follow the opposing team's best receiver all over the field week after week, game after game. They put him on DK Metcalf types. They put him on the big, physical, fast receivers who eat corners for lunch. And Turner held his own, more than held his own. He thrived. And when a player does that at his age, he will be 26 years old this season. You are looking at someone who is entering the absolute peak of their athletic prime. The best is potentially still ahead of him. Now, what's that worth? Dre's personal opinion? This man is going to want top 10 cornerback money, and I am talking about sitting down with his agent and pointing to guys like Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn and saying, that is my neighborhood. And that neighborhood runs $24 to $25 million per year and above. According to multiple sources covering the NFL contract market, the top of the cornerback market right now has guys like J.C. Horn at $25 million per year and A.J. Terrell, who is probably the most comparable stylistic player to Turner, checking in at around $20 million per year. And here's the thing about A.J. Terrell's deal. That was signed in 2024. There has been cap inflation since then. There are always new contracts pushing the market up. So if A.J. Terrell is your comparable at $20 million in 2024, DJ Turner is looking at that number as a floor in 2026. Not a ceiling. And the Bengals know this. Duke Tobin, their front office decision-maker, has been very deliberate with his public comments about finances this offseason. He knows the bill is coming due, because think about it from a roster construction standpoint. The Bengals just went out and spent aggressively this offseason on veterans. The Dexter Lawrence trade, Boye Mafe, Jonathan Allen, they went all in on 2026. And that is the right move. But every dollar you spend on veteran free agents is a dollar that is not available when your young homegrown players come knocking on your door asking for extensions. The Bengals have built a deep, talented roster. Now they have to figure out how to keep it together. And this is where the DJ Turner versus Dax Hill conversation becomes genuinely fascinating. Because these are two very good corners. Both 26 years old, both in their prime, both represented by the same agent, which means this negotiation is going to be a chess match of the highest order. But here's the critical detail that I think tells you everything you need to know about how the Bengals see this situation. They went out in the draft and selected Tacario Davis, who projects as an outside cornerback. If the Bengals were planning to keep both Turner and Hill as their two starting outside corners for the next 4 or 5 years, why would you draft an outside corner? You wouldn't. That tells me the Bengals front office has already started doing the math, and they've concluded that they can realistically afford to keep one of these two corners at a premium price. Not both. Dax Hill's situation is fascinating because he is already earning money this year. The Bengals picked up his fifth-year option at $12.6 million for 2026. So the cap implications of extending Dax versus extending DJ are slightly different in terms of timing and flexibility. But here's the honest truth. If both of these guys hit the open market as free agents, both of them are getting paid. Other teams around the league will absolutely line up to write big checks for two 26-year-old corners who just played at a high level. The Bengals cannot afford to be sentimental about this. They have to make a decision and execute on it. Now let me shift gears for a second because I want to talk about Myles Murphy, and I want to give the Bengals front office some real credit here. When they decided not to pick up Murphy's fifth-year option, they did not just blindside the young man. According to reports from Bengals beat coverage, the organization was proactive and communicative about it. They told him directly, "This is a financial decision. We still believe in you. We still want you here." That kind of transparency with a young player, especially one who did not have a breakout season, is genuinely respectful, and Dre appreciates that. But here is the cold, hard reality of Myles Murphy's situation. The Bengals just loaded up that defensive line room with Dexter Lawrence, Boye Mafe, Jonathan Allen, and they spent a first-round pick on Shamar Stewart last year. If Murphy goes out and has a monster 2026, double-digit sacks, consistent pressure, Pro Bowl-level production, then all of a sudden you have a massive financial decision on your hands. Because you will have two highly paid defensive linemen in Lawrence and Mafe, plus a Murphy, who just earned top-of-market money, plus whatever it costs to keep Turner and Hill. That math gets very uncomfortable very fast. But if Murphy has a solid but not spectacular year, then you can probably get him done on a manageable deal, something in the 3-year, $45 million range, and feel good about the investment. The variance on Myles Murphy's contract situation is enormous, and that is what makes it so interesting. And now we get to the name that I know a lot of Bengals fans have feelings about, Chase Brown. Because Chase Brown's contract situation might be the most philosophically complex decision on this entire list. And I want to be clear about something before I give you my take. Chase Brown is a good football player, an actually good NFL running back. When you look at the statistical comparables for his production over the last 2 seasons, alongside names like Kenneth Walker, James Cook, and Travis Etienne, Chase Brown holds his own. He has been ahead of most of those guys in receptions per game, receiving yards per game, and he holds up well in rushing yards per game too. According to market value tools used by major salary cap analysts, Brown's comparable production puts him in the same conversation as backs who have recently received contracts in the $13 to $15 million per year range. But here's the problem, and I mean this with full respect for what Chase Brown has done on this football field. He is a running back, and the Cincinnati Bengals under Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow have consistently treated the running back position as fungible, as replaceable. They took Joe Mixon, a Pro Bowl caliber back, and pushed him out the door rather than pay him top dollar. They have historically found running back production through the mid and late rounds of the draft. That is not an accident. That is a philosophy. And philosophies do not change just because one player happens to be really good at that position. Dre's personal opinion? If Chase Brown wants Derrick Henry HN type money, and I mean if he's looking at $15 million a year or anywhere near there, I think the Bengals let him walk. And I think they feel okay about it because they believe they can find the next Chase Brown in the draft. They've done it before. Now let me talk about the elephant that is slowly but surely walking into the room, and his name is Amarius Mims. Because if you are the Bengals and you are ranking your extension priorities from most urgent to least urgent, I would argue that Amarius Mims might actually be the biggest one of all. Offensive tackle is the second most important position on the entire football field. Period. Full stop. No debate. You protect the quarterback or you do not win football games. And Amarius Mims, in his development trajectory over the last 2 years, has been ascending so rapidly that you can start to see a world where he commands top-of-market offensive tackle money. And that market, we are talking about the top-tier offensive tackles in this league, runs north of $25 million a year and does not slow down. The Bengals already have Orlando Brown on a significant deal protecting Joe Burrow's blind side. But if Mims continues developing the way he has been, you are going to have a situation where keeping both of them on the roster gets very expensive. And here's the thing about letting a top offensive tackle walk in free agency. You do not just replace that guy. There is no mid-round draft pick who is going to step in and perform at that level immediately. Offensive tackle development takes years. The Bengals need to get ahead of this one, quickly, before Mims prices himself completely out of their range. So let me give you the Dre breakdown of where all of this stands, because I want to leave you with something clear and actionable rather than just throwing a bunch of numbers at you for 20 minutes. The Bengals are staring at a genuine resource allocation crisis. They have done an extraordinary job building this roster, The talent level on this team right now, top to bottom, is probably as high as it has been since that Super Bowl run in 2022. But now comes the part that separates good franchises from great ones. Can you keep your core together? Can you make the hard decisions about who gets paid, who gets let go, and who gets bridged on a short-term deal while you figure out the long-term picture? The DJ Turner extension should be priority number one. He has earned it on the field. His age makes it the right time, and if he goes out and has another elite season in 2026 without a new deal, his next contract is going to be significantly more expensive than it would be today. Get it done now. $20 million a year or somewhere in that range is going to be the conversation, and Dre thinks the Bengals should be willing to go there for the right player at the right age. Dax Hill is the fascinating wild card. The organization clearly values him, but if Takario Davis develops into a true outside corner, do you really need to pay Dax Hill $30 million plus over the life of a new extension when you could potentially redeploy that money elsewhere? That is the question that keeps Duke Tobin up at night. Myles Murphy and Chase Brown are the prove-it players. Both of them need to go out in 2026 and show the Bengals exactly why they deserve long-term investment. Murphy needs a breakout pass rush season. Brown needs to show he is an every down, every situation back who genuinely changes how defenses game plan for this offense. If either of them does that, the Bengals will face an extremely difficult and expensive decision. If neither of them does, the decisions become much easier. And Amarius Mims? Get him done. Get him done before he becomes the next player the Bengals wish they had extended 2 years earlier. The offensive tackle position is too important, and Mims is too good to risk losing him to the open market. All right, Bengals Nation, I need you in the comments right now. Who do you extend first, DJ Turner or Dax Hill? Do you pay Chase Brown, or do you let him walk and trust the draft? Is Myles Murphy about to have a monster year and make this all even more complicated? Drop your takes below, because I read every single one, and I want to know what you think. If you are new to Dre Talk Sports, welcome. And seriously, what took you so long? We're putting out the most honest, most in-depth sports content on this entire platform. No cap, no fluff. Just real football analysis from someone who actually gives a damn about getting it right. Smash that like button if you want the Bengals to get all of these extensions done and go on a Super Bowl run. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you are here every single time we drop. Share this video with every Bengals fan in your life who needs to understand the financial chess match their team is about to play.